This is going to be about eternity. Yes. Darwin was right when he wrote that the surf spoke with the sound of eternity. I have never been near anything that felt as endless, unless it was the sky at night. I'm thinking about this because we took a little vacation that gave me easy access to a beach, and we were at a spot remote from centers of population and the tremendous illumination they create that nullifies the display of the sky at night. And I was thinking about this because I'm no longer young, and therefore I do occasionally entertain thoughts about eternity, intimations of immortality, Wordsworth wrote, and not the daily train of neurotic nonsense like why the famous football coach let his recruits sleep with prostitutes, or why someone shot someone else, or what percentage of the contributions received by charities goes directly to the victims of natural disasters. The surf is relentless, ceaseless, and powerful. So much energy expended on the shore. The waves roll in, crest, crash, underneath the grist and roil of the pebbles, crushed and rushed by water into sand, and the water recedes and repeats endlessly. Where does all that power come from? Is it the wind? What causes the wind? I know the ultimate source of all energy on the planet is the sun. Just as in crime, when you're trying to solve a case, murder or a robbery, the first motive is always money. Follow the dough. And energy upon the earth ultimately traces back to the sun. Those leaping blasts, the solar flares, the light, what we call light, that particle wave thing, travels through space, 93 million miles of it, at 186,000 miles per second, and causes the surf to crash upon the shore. You can hear the crash of the wave and the scrabble of the stones over and over and over. All of this puts me in mind of eternity, even though such a thought, eternity, is far beyond my ken. So too is the surf, and yet there it is. The body of water was Lake Superior. How the Native Americans must have been awed by that lake. It was beyond their ken, too, but it also supplied them with fresh water and food, and they must have considered it a god, like the sun. When I think of Lake Superior, I think of Gordon Lightfoot's song, and I think he got that right, too. I always thought that ringing music in the song was like a great freighter caught up in the storm, breaking up. Here were men upon the water, not in respect, but for commerce, thinking they could beat the storm, or ride it out, and so they sailed into their own personal eternity. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down, of the big lake they called Gitche Gumee. The Edmund Fitzgerald sank, taking all men with her, and that, too, makes me think of eternity. And then there's the night sky. It was overcast much of the time we were there, but one night we had a fire on the beach, a small one, and we peered up into the sky, looking at the universe, at our tiny chunk of it, the Milky Way. And I say it is impossible to see that sight and not think of the infinite, that which is without limits, eternity. For the sake of establishing a true personal perspective, everyone should look up into that nighttime sky. I think it is possible for someone to examine the world as in as many aspects as possible, and to conclude with a great deal of certainty that there is no God, no supreme power, no creator. And I think it is equally possible for that same person to examine that same nature to its length and breadth and depth, and to conclude there absolutely has to be a creator, a first mover, the primum mobile. Everything that exists is not possible without that. I don't know which argument is right, or if either is, but I do know that sitting by the surf and looking up into the night sky were, may I say, profound experiences for me, and I recommend them to anyone, or any age, but especially to the older farts. We're more susceptible to what they have to say, I think.